Hi, this is Dominic with the Firearms Breakdown, and today we're going to disassemble everyone's favorite piece of shit, the Mosin Nagant. So whether you have a 9130 or an M44, the breakdown process of them is pretty much exactly the same. Today we're going to take down the 9130 just because they're a little more common than the M44s. So we'll set this one out of the way for right now. The first thing we're going to do, as you would do on any rifle before you work on it, is to check and make sure it's clear. So we're going to do a bolt. We're going to check inside the chamber, physically check in there. Okay, and this rifle right now is clear. So the first part, or the first step of disassembling this rifle is we're going to take the front barrel bands off and the top of the handguard. So it's really easy. First, what we're going to do is we're going to unscrew the cleaning rod, pull that out, set that to the side. Next, there's these little band spring retainers here. You're going to push down on them, they're sprung, and you're going to slide the barrel band forward. Okay, like that, and same on the rear. Push down and slide forward. Okay, now your top handguard is going to come off, and we will be able to just set that to the side for right now. Okay, our next step that we're going to do now is we're going to separate the receiver and the barrel from the stock. Alright, so to get your bolt out, it's really easy. What you're going to do is open the bolt, pull the bolt back, and you'll notice that it's not going to release. What you need to do is pull the trigger here, and then it's going to release this here, and you'll be able to pull your bolt out. So our bolt's out, we'll set that to the side for right now. Next, to take the receiver out of the stock, we're going to need to take the bolts right here down out of the magazine. There's one here, and then this bolt here up in the back tang. Okay, so what we're going to do is grab a screwdriver, screw it out first. Okay, we got this magazine bolt out here. Next, take this bolt here out of the tang. Okay. Now at this point, just flip this over. There's your rear screw there, and we're going to pull the magazine out of the bottom of the stock here. Set this aside. Next, flip this back over here. And the receiver will separate from the stock. Alright. Now, a lot of the times when you get Mosin Nagants, they're going to be covered in cosmoline and all kinds of nasty stuff. So, if you're doing a cleanup on them, a lot of the times it's good to pull out these barrel band springs, and if you really want to get in here, you could take the recoil lug out. Sometimes these are a real pain in the butt to get out, but what I like to do is I just have a C-clip pliers, and as you can see, there's two little holes in here, and you just line your pliers up, these two holes, and give it a turn. Okay. And this pops right out. I'm not going to take these front springs out of these. So that, and we're going to push this out. So as you can see, it's a little tough right here, and this is where a set of punches is going to come handy. So you can punch, and just your hammer here. Be careful not to mar up the threads, and just give it a little tap. Okay, so that's pretty much for the stock. That's as far as you need to go. I mean, on these pre-war stocks, the little retainers here, they have flat heads on them. You can pull these out. The later ones are pressed in. And then obviously, if you want to pull the buttstock plate, you can do that. It's 2 screws. But for this video, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. So we're going to set that aside right now. So now we are onto our receiver here, and to take apart your trigger, it's pretty darn easy. What you're going to do first is, there's a bolt right here that's holding your sear spring in. We're going to, sometimes it needs a little, and that is going to come right out. There's your bolt for that. As you can see here, the seared spring are not coming out because they're retained by the actual trigger itself. So, to get this trigger out, what we're going to do is go back to our little punch, and it should, you really shouldn't need any pressure at all. This is going to come right through, like so, and there's your trigger pin. Alright, so now that we got the trigger pin out, you will be able to take out the sear spring and the trigger itself. So on mine here, I shimmed mine. So on either side of the trigger, I made some brass shims just to take the slop out of the side of the trigger. So if you see those pop out, maybe when I pull this out, that's what those are. So there's the trigger right there. Trigger. This is your sear that engages on the bolt, and this is the spring itself. That's a super easy trigger. They're pretty cool. And then here are my shims that I made for mine, just to take some slack out. So that's it. I mean, the trigger's really a piece of cake. The interrupters right here, you can take this apart if you want to, but out of any of the ones that I have, I usually just don't ever mess with them. You take this screw out right here, and this part pops off, and this over here. But, I mean, they're always fine. So, unless it's something broken on yours, I wouldn't recommend taking them off. It's just not needed. And there's still enough space to clean everything in and out of there. So basically, that's it. Other than taking the bolt completely apart, which we're going to do in the next video, this is all your main pieces of your Mosin Nagant. So there's your trigger pieces here and your bolts. Pretty simple. Actually, you know what? I forgot one more thing. On your magazine, the magazine follower is inside of here. And to get that out, there is a button right here on the bottom. What you're going to do is push that button down, and you're going to pull this open. Right? So as you can see, this is your follower. Your rounds are in here, and as you fire, it pushes the rounds up to feed the next one in. So to get this off, it's really easy. You take this here like this, you're going to squeeze like this on it, rotate forward, and it comes right out. There's a little pin in here that's going to ride through. As you can see how this works here is when you squeeze, it opens this top piece here and allows that pin to slide and drop in there like that. So putting it back together is as simple as just giving it a squeeze, lining up that pin right there over the top, and that's it. It's back in. And until you squeeze, it's going to stay in there. And back up, and there's your phone. So from here, we can literally put this thing back together, and it's going to go exactly the same way it came apart. So what we're going to do now is take your trigger and your trigger sear spring. You're going to need to put these together first, okay? Because otherwise, when you put the pin in, you can't get the spring back in. So think of your trigger working like this. You want to put it in the same way, like this, okay? So this is going to go in like that. You're going to set your trigger in here like this. Now, an easy trick to get everything lined up and to work again is to take a punch that's similar to the same diameter as the pin, and you're going to stick it in here like this, and it's going to hold your whole trigger setup, right? Okay. So with mine, I have these two brass shims, so I need to get those shims in first. So to get the shim in here, I'm going to line it up like this with my punch, and then I'm going to pull it back with, let's bring it back through there, and there it is. Okay, so now I got my shims in, and I've got the trigger in, and the sears in. It's all held in with my punch. So now to transfer the punch, the pin to where the punch is, what I'm going to do is just follow along here, and the pin is going to push in. You can just use your punch to kind of line everything up, and it's popped back just like that. So now trigger's in and working. I got my shims in there. Piece of cake. Now we're going to take these bolts. We're going to back on top here with the top of the spring into the hole. Good. So now that we've got our trigger back together, alright, it's working. Let's see. Pull the trigger here. It's pulling down on the sear. We got to put it back in the stock. Well, as you remember from before, we pulled the recoil lug out of the stock, so we're going to need to put that back in. So, as you can see, there's a little detent cut out in there. So when you put it back in, you're going to want that detent facing forward, okay? So what we're going to do is push it back in, okay? You can see it slide through the stock a little bit right here. And you can see that little detent. Make sure it's facing forward, okay? Pushes in like that. Take our nut. And should be able to start it by hand. Take our little C-clamp pliers or spanner wrench, and we're going to stick those in the two little holes there. Try to not block the camera. 1 and 2, and we're going to snug that up. All right, we're snug. So now we can put the receiver back into the stock. So this is how we're going to do that. What we're going to do is take the receiver and just slide it back in. Make sure your trigger slides through the little trigger slot here, and it's dropped back in. Now the next part we're going to do the easiest way that I find is flip it upside down. So now it's just going to hold, the stock's going to hold in place that way. And you're going to take your magazine and work the trigger through the little trigger guard. And push it down like that. We're going to take our first screw and we're going to start it down here below. And just, you don't need to tighten it down yet. Just get the threads going so it starts. And now we're going to flip it. Take our other screw. And that's going to go. Start it this way. Try to angle this in. Okay, now that we got those two started, it's going to hold there in place and it's not going anywhere. But we're going to need to torque it down. So if you have a torque wrench, that's ideal. If not, you can do it by hand, but don't over tighten them, that's the thing. So with these, it's 30 inch-pounds you want to set it to. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick your right little hollow point bit there, slop her on in, and there's a gauge on here. So we're going to turn this so the little level gets to 30 inch-pounds. Right at 30 there. So we want to make sure that we tighten these up evenly. So I'm going to start to turn this screw until it's snug. snug. Oops. Okay, now we're going to do the bottom one. Turn this guy's snug. So now that these are both evenly snug, this is our torque range here. So we have it set at 30 inch-pounds. So when we hit 30 inch-pounds, it's going to click and it's going to be at that setting. So turning, screw. Boom. See, as you can see, when you hit the 30 inch-pounds, it stops. So that's screwed down. Now we're going to do the same. Let's see what's the easiest thing. Like here. Cool. And we're at 30 inch-pounds up on the top. So now our receiver is back and secure in our stock. So next on the list, we are going to put the top handguard and the barrel bands back on. Super easy. We did this before, same way we took it off. We're gonna slap this baby back on top here. Now, when you're putting these barrel bands on, you'll notice that they're sprung, so they actually open and close a little bit on the bottom. Okay, you want, if you can see that right here, the bottom side here, you want this side on the bottom. It's a little, I don't know what you want to call it. It's like a gap or a groove. But see how that spreads apart like that. So you're gonna want this on the bottom, not on the top here. So put the handguard back out, and we're going to make sure that the opening is on the bottom. And we're going to slide that back and over the little retainer, and that's locked in. And we're going to do the same thing on the front. Make sure the opening's on the bottom, and we're going to pull it. Cool, and we're in. Well, now the handguard's on, the receiver's in, pretty much. Oh wait, one more thing here. We're going to take the cleaning rod, and that's going back in now too. And that just screws in like that, and you're secure. Okay, and that's not coming out. Next, we're going to take our bolt. Again, we'll check one more time. Make sure there's not a round in here. Look in here. We got nothing. We're clear. We're going to take our bolt. We're going to make sure that the bolt handle, the knob, is up, and that the lug here is lined up along here. If you try to go this way, obviously it's kind of common sense, but it's not going to be let in until you pull the trigger down. So you try to put it in, grab the trigger right here, pull back, and that bolt's going to slide right in. Okay, and you're locked in. And that is the disassembly and assembly of the Mosin Nagant. So stay tuned, and the next video we're going to go through disassembling the bolt and putting it back together again. So thank you for watching. Nice. Nice. Oh, I should have said like and make sure you like and subscribe.
No?
No?
Everyone does that shit.